I always felt that if I stayed true to who I was, that eventually people would see me for who I was.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to...
Tonight for Monday, December 16th, 1996. Hi, everybody. I'm Bob Goen.
And I'm Mary Hart. Madonna is the talk of Hollywood. One of the world's biggest stars turns this town upside down. Her name, as you know, Madonna. Today, you will get to know her intimately. We first met the Material Girl 12 years ago on Dick Clark's American Bandstand, making a prediction no one could have known would come true.
What do you hope will happen not only in 1984, but for the rest of your professional life? What are your dreams? What's left?
To rule the world.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Madonna. Here's the fix.
And rule the world she has. Nowhere was that more apparent than at the amazing premiere for her new movie, Evita. It was one of the biggest in Hollywood history. An awesome sight and a thrill to be in the middle of. And I was. Saturday night in Hollywood. This film, Evita, has been surrounded by controversy from the beginning, including the controversy over who was going to play the lead role. Looks like they made the right choice. Only one woman in the world could get 1,000 people to wait 7 hours just to catch a glimpse of her at her premiere. I think you know who I'm talking about. I saw you just walk over a second ago, and I've heard the reaction. This must feel wonderful.
It is. I feel like I'm dreaming.
Are you nervous at all?
I'm very nervous, yeah. 5,000 people are going to be watching it.
It's bigger than the Oscars, isn't it?
The movie doesn't belong to us anymore, that now belongs to them.
I mean, I grew up with Madonna. I went through my rubber bracelet period like everybody else.
Guess what? After a brief appearance, the Material Girl split. She's a mom now, you know. She's got a baby to take care of. Your eyes seem red.
My eyes are red because I was crying a little bit there. I started crying when she sang "Don't Cry for Me, Argentina." I really did.
As you can hear, there wasn't a dry eye in the theater. And guess who else was crying during the premiere of Evita? Madonna herself. We are told she was sobbing throughout, and you can imagine why, Giselle. She looks up on screen, and she sees a decade-long dream finally come true.
Well, you know, she always said, Larry, if you want something bad enough, the world conspires to help you get it, and boy, did she get it. For millions of Madonna fans, you who weren't lucky enough to get inside the Shrine Auditorium, we have your access pass behind the scenes at the making of this epic production. This is a movie of pure music and virtually no words spoken. A massive production that is truly inspiring. Take a look.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
This is a first look at scenes from the year's most anticipated film, Evita. It's based on the life of Eva Perón, played by Madonna. She's the First Lady of Argentina, married to a powerful dictator, Juan Perón, played by Jonathan Pryce. The film traces the masses and create a new Argentina. She was and still is a controversial figure, revered as a saint by her followers, reviled by her detractors. But she was impossible to ignore. When she died at 33 in 1952, she was one of the most powerful women in the world.
I felt like I could understand her because of my own experiences. I felt that I could understand her pain, her frustrations, her sense of determination, the fire that she had inside of her. I could relate to all of those things.
In many ways, Madonna's life parallels that of Evita's. Both were exceedingly ambitious, strong-willed, and controversial. Both dyed their hair blonde, and both developed a reputation for their sexual exploits. Antonio Banderas, who plays Che, the narrator in the film, says he saw Madonna bond with Evita.
In a way, I think there is some kind of a diary of herself in this movie, and I think that's why Madonna and Eva Duarte are both together in this movie.
Let him save them as he saved me.
Madonna says she was destined to play Evita, but it almost didn't happen. Madonna won and lost the part in the late 80s. She won the part when she dazzled the producer and lost it when she tried to rewrite the music. The film was 16 years in the making, and during that time, 16 different divas were considered. including Barbra Streisand, Meryl Streep, and Michelle Pfeiffer. And 10 directors came and went. Finally, in 1995, Alan Parker was signed to direct the musical. It was given the green light.
I've suddenly got this, very long letter from Madonna telling me that she was by far and away the only person who could possibly play the part. She would sing and act and dance her heart out.
And she did, but making the film was tougher than expected. The cast and crew were greeted by graffiti in Buenos Aires. The sign shouted, "Evita lives, Madonna go home."
Biggest problem of all was when we first arrived there and they didn't want us to be there, and that was scary.
Banderas says that Madonna took most of the heat because Argentinians love their Evita and didn't want her reputation ruined.
Madonna was more a victim than myself, but they were not an exception of a couple of guys completely out of line. They started threatening Madonna.
A hastily called press conference attempted to calm the heated emotions.
Truthfully, I think that the negative remarks that people have made are based on things that people don't know and don't understand. And I urge you all to form your opinions after you see the movie.
Madonna's fans didn't help either. They mobbed her the moment she arrived and made her a virtual prisoner in her hotel. Like the real Evita, she drew crowds when she stepped onto her balcony. As the filming progressed, opposition declined, but the problems for director Parker continued. The massive production included 40,000 extras and huge scenes like this one.
Dealing with 4,000 people or trying to recreate the funeral of Eva Perón is not an easy thing to do.
Don't cry for me, Argentina.
This powerful moment was shot on the balcony of Casa Rosada, the presidential offices, where Evita addressed the masses. Parker tried for over a year to get the okay to shoot here and failed. Then Madonna stepped in.
Madonna met the president for 10 minutes and she got the balcony.
From Argentina, the crew moved on to Hungary. It was here that Madonna called Parker with some unexpected news.
Well, the moment that Madonna came to you and said to you, "I'm pregnant," what thoughts raced through your mind?
Well, fear. You think, how many days do you have left? And would you get it done before, the pregnancy started to show?
The new wrinkle forced Parker to scramble and move up the production schedule.
I think if it had occurred like a month earlier, we would have been in big trouble.
So now, after almost 2 years in the making, at a cost of $60 million, the most awaited film is completed and ready for its audience. One of the things audiences will see when Evita opens Christmas Day, as we mentioned, the incredible similarities between the lives of Eva Perón and Madonna. In the movie, Evita is told she is dying of cancer, and playing out that scene was incredibly difficult for Madonna, who was forced to relive one of the most painful periods in her life, losing her mother to that same disease.
I think probably the biggest misunderstanding people have of me is what people have of most celebrities, and that is that we aren't human beings, and that it's okay to say the things that people say because we won't feel them because we don't have feelings. Because if people did think of me as a human being and did think of me as a person who had feelings, I don't think people would say or assume a lot of the things that they do.
People always talk about how stardom changes you, but they never talk about how it can change the people close to you.
Coming up next, a very private conversation with a very public figure. Madonna sits down for a revealing look inside her world when we go one-on-one with an American icon.
That's the highest compliment you can pay an actor.
Stay tuned. More Madonna moments are just ahead on Access Hollywood.
Access Hollywood is brought to you by CK1, a fragrance for a man.
With the woman who brought Evita to life, Madonna, the interview, coming up on Access Hollywood.
For Madonna, as you know, Evita is the role of a lifetime, the chance to finally silence her critics and gain the legitimacy she's always wanted. It comes at a time when Madonna is re-examining her whole life. One, despite all the glamour, she'll tell you has been filled with hurt and a longing for love. It is through the eyes of Evita that we see more of the real Madonna than ever before. A vulnerability, a depth of spirit, and more than anything, a desperate desire to finally be seen for who she really is.
There was a spiritual experience beyond just playing the part of this woman.
Absolutely. And if this movie has given me the chance to finally show that a successful and powerful woman is not evil or frightening or scary, then it was worth it.
Perhaps worth all the pain and heartache she wrote about in her private diaries, over being typecast and underrated as having all flash and no substance.
In your diaries, I couldn't help but feel we got past somehow the persona and got to know a person who's been very hurt by the press, very hurt by the typecasting of you as only a sexual creature. How did you stay strong? How did you continue to fight that?
I guess just a very strong sense of commitment to my work. I've always believed in what I did as an artist, and I always felt that if I kept at it and stayed true to who I was, that eventually people would see me for who I was.
Who Madonna is, according to her diaries, is a strong, determined woman who came from a tragic childhood. Her mother died of cancer when she was 6 years old. It's a loss that has left her with a deep sadness all her life. A sadness she could share with Evita, whose father died when she was a child.
You identified tremendously with her. Did you confront parts of yourself you saw in her?
It's not that I confronted parts of myself, it's that I felt like I could understand her because of my own experiences. I felt that I could understand her pain, her frustrations, her sense of determination, the fire that she had inside of her. I could relate to all of those things.
Like Evita, you've been accused of exploiting everything for blind ambition, and like Evita, at least through your diaries, you felt terribly hurt by being so misunderstood in your life. What is the biggest misperception about you?
I think that the biggest mistake is for people to think of me as of a person that doesn't have feelings. You know, I think that we can't help but dehumanize our icons or our people that we put up on pedestals, celebrities. I think it happens to a lot of people, and it's very frustrating.
And as for fortune, and as for fame, I never invited them in. Though it seemed to the world they were all I desired.
You've been called the queen of PR, of image making, just like Evita was. Yet recently, you thanked your fans for being with you and sticking by you, even when you didn't know what you were doing. Is the persona that was created a calculated creation, or did it just happen?
It just happened.
There was nothing calculated about it?
No. I mean, I'm a fairly impulsive creature, and most of the things that I did that ended up causing such a furor were things that I literally did in the blink of an eye.
And that includes her pregnancy with baby Lourdes.
You felt very isolated and very lonely at times of your life and through your celebrity. Has Lourdes changed that?
Yes, absolutely.
When you say, when holding her, there's a healing, what kind of healing is that?
Well, I grew up without a mother, and when I look into her eyes, I feel that I have the chance to give her everything that I didn't have as a child. So.
And what is that?
Unconditional love.
Feels good?
Yep.
When you're 52, Lourdes is going to be 14, and she's going to come to you with some nose ring or whatever they're doing to shock parents at the time, and she's going to say, Mom, I'm in love. What advice will you give her about love?
I would say to always listen to her heart. Yep.
And that's exactly what Madonna is doing. As she wrote in her diary, she's not sure what's next. But one thing's clear, after Evita and the birth of Lourdes, her life is forever changed. In person, she is a woman with great spirit. You just feel it. I asked Madonna if she would have made different choices if she had known that being so sexually daring in her art would be so misunderstood. Her answer, if she knew, perhaps she wouldn't have been so rebellious. But there are no times for regrets for this woman. Her life is fuller than ever.
Tomorrow.